guys, welcome to the Punk Rock Condition, where we explore, discover, and appreciate all things punk rock. If that interests you, please subscribe. Here on today's episode, we are doing episode 2 of You Want to Get Into, and this is where we take a real deep dive on one of my absolute favorite bands, and I am very excited to say that today we are talking about No Use for a Name. And yeah, man, these guys are absolutely one of my all-time favorites, and I can't wait to talk about them. We get to talk about them in totality. They were around from 1986 to 2012. And unfortunately, the lead singer, Tony Sly, if you're unaware, he passed in 2012. And the punk rock world was pretty shook by it. I know I was. But we'll get into all of that. Let me ask you a quick question. You want to get into No Use for a Name? All right, let's do it. So yeah, like I said, they formed back in 1986. And at that point, they were just a three-piece. And Tony wasn't even in the band yet. No Use's band member history is extensive. There were a lot of people that were involved. I'll throw an image up here on the screen so you can see exactly who was in the band when. But if you ask me, the most important people in regards to No Use are Tony, Matt Riddle, and Rory Koff. Matt on the bass and Rory on the drums. Rory was in it from Jump Street up until the very end. There was a switch out for like the last year or two. But Rory was in it for the longest period of time. And let me fucking tell you, man, Rory was an absolute force of nature. An absolute force of nature behind that drum kit. He was so much fun to watch play. And he could play at 1,000,000 miles an hour all damn day long. You know, the other guys that were in the band, I don't want to shortchange anybody in terms of their contribution, but it is difficult to say who did what when. I know that Dave Nassie was in the band for a really long time on guitar. I know that Chris Rest, who we all know and love from Lagwagon and RKL, was in it for a little bit. But to me, Tony, Rory, and Matt, that combination, and maybe Dave was maybe the best of it. If you're unaware, Chris Shiflett, who went on to play in fucking Foo Fighters, was in the band for a short time, for one album, and then he went on to bigger and better things. But there was a lot of guys involved. So if we go back to 86 when they first started, they were more of a kind of a hardcore punk band when you listen to it. It was pretty rugged, in your face, hard, fast punk. When Tony finally hopped on the vocals and they signed to Fat and put out The Daily Grind, holy shitballs had they arrived. I remember getting my hands on The Daily Grind and just beating that thing to death. Man, did I love that album. And so they followed that up with Leche con Carne, which was a big deal for them because they put out a video for Soulmate, which is one of their best songs of all time. And there used to be this show on MTV called 120 Minutes where they'd play 2 hours of kind of like the more underground stuff that they weren't necessarily playing on the main MTV bullshit videos, blah, blah, blah. And you'd see a lot of cool bands on there, man. I remember getting into certain bands that way. But No Use was on there with Soulmate, and I think they got some traction from it that ended up, going a long way. So No Use ultimately put out 8 full lengths, 9 if you count The Daily Grind as a full length. To me, there's a definitive line in their discography between what they were early on and what they became. And that line is after Making Friends. Who they were before that is one sound, and who they became after that was a little bit softer, more melodic punk band. Still played incredibly fast and so tight, but I think they really grew up and grew into who they were, and that's where you'll hear probably the best of No Use for a Name. Thing about No Use, man, is they were fucking Fat Records to the bone. You can't mention Fat Records in the history of Fat Records without talking about No Use. They were really important, and anybody that was listening to punk in the 90s certainly listened to No Use for a Name, or at least had an opinion of them. You couldn't avoid it, man. They were fucking great. Let's get to listen to some No Use. So I invite you, as a No Use for a Name fan, if you're already a No Use fan and you're watching this video, to take a trip down memory lane and listen to this shit from beginning to end. Let's take a little tour of everything No Use ever did. We'll hit the essential tracks, and we'll hit some of my favorites. Then I'll rank the discography in my own humble opinion. So let's dive in. Okay, cool. So here we are at the beginning, all the way back when they were just a three-piece and Tony wasn't even in the band yet. So I'm going to hit highlights from Incognito, Don't Miss a Train, Daily Grind, Leche, and Making Friends. That to me really encompasses their early work. And then we'll draw a line after Making Friends and get into the more softer melodic stuff that came after, even though in my opinion that is the best of it. But let's start here with Incognito. All right, we're starting to get into some real good shit now. Boy, man, did I love this album when I got my hands on it.
It's not the booze, it's not the booze. It isn't anything consumed, so is it becoming a problem you can't hide? And all those times you thought that you were wrong, you were right. By the power of a charming leader with the love of God and the hatred of humanity, that's to a place where it can hide and lead the blind, only to make them believe.
Fun fact about that 51 Days song, that's about the tragedy in Waco, Texas, where the evangelical weirdos, whatever, took the whole thing hostage in 51 days, and there was a big shootout and everything. If you don't know about that historically, check that out.
Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? All I've ever had. Redemption songs. Redemption songs.
Obviously, that's a Bob Marley cover. We'll get into the covers later, but man, that's one of the essentials, man, that one. Try to keep that one in there.
No lesson learned here. Prejudice prevails.
This is vintage No Use right here, man. What a beautiful sound.
Does anybody? Don't pretend you're invincible, and no one can save you from yourself. Pretend you're a superhero, fucking zero, trying to save the world. I guess we're back where we belong. One thing is for sure, it wasn't strong. I'll see you on the outside. You've never been learn to walk away.
Makes me smile, man. Ridiculous. I hope you're happy.
Lord, life feels about the night where once we watched a small fever fly. Our love was on the wings. We had dreams and songs to sing. So lonely round the fields of back and ride.
So here we are about halfway through their career, and you can hear how their sound was evolving from that raw early on to the kick-ass, play at 1,000,000 miles an hour Fat Records band that they were at this time. And now we move on to the second half of their career, and we get to more Betterness. Their next release is where we're going to begin at the second half, and you'll hear the difference of who they were and who they became. And this was the record that Chris Shiflett was on. For whatever that's worth. So let's just rock out and ride through the rest of their career here. So many great hooks, quality lyrics, guitar solos, relentless on the drum. Just, they had it all. And very influential. Make no mistake. They had a lot of influence on bands that came after them. I think if you ask the Swellers are nothing but a no-use imitation. In a good way. So let's just keep going, man. More Betterness.
Can't help myself. I'm not your savior. I'm not who you want me to be. A cowardly mistake I made so many times before. Refusing to break. Cut my losses, ties that leave you. And she will only see a reflection of her father's rejection. Nothing will change until she breaks this life. This life-size mirror. And the boys of the NYPD choir were singing Galway Bay, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day.
Keeps putting a smile on my damn face, man. I can't help it.
Let it fall, let it rise, let it be and let it slide.
Oh, the beautiful backing vocals. Harmonies.
Let it fall, let it rise.
This is the first time in their discography that we're really hearing something like that.
You're coming too close, and I can't pretend that I'll pick you up or let you come in again. We've been through this before, so please understand. Without you, my life is incomplete. My days are absolutely great, and so I tried. Let your noble show.
International U Day, man, it transcends punk rock. It's an amazing song. It should be like in the time capsule of American rock music. I had a friend, it's like they got married to that song. Joey Cape has focused on that song. It's truly beautiful across genres. What a song.
A bed of roses, the thorns are placed. No more sleepless nights, just for me. But as for you, a memory. This town is full of dumb reminders. Having a good time, can't you tell? Hang up the phone and then I come back down. Miss you, I hope you're doing well.
Man, the way he says that, I always love that. The friends of the enemy of your mind. Tony had a sensibility for songwriting and melody writing and harmony. Second to none, man. He had his own fucking thing carved out. No question about it. Oh, there's Riddle rocking it.
You won't be by yourself. I'll live for your problems and think of you when I'm gone. Don't worry now, it won't be long. Rejection, redefined by giving up just what they're after. Someone would tell you if they could speak up of all this laughter. Think you would learn somehow, but time just isn't. Nothing is the same. Everything is a better change. Sometimes I see sadness in your eyes. Let it all crash down. When it is, it begins with you. I'm gonna learn every time you do.
I'll tell you what, man. For Fiona is a beautiful song, and that Fiona is his daughter. You listen to that song posthumously, and it's a heartbreaker, boy.
2 days to go until I see you. Looks like we can't call up the ambulance down there. My head is touching down, and I've learned to be afraid. I thank my black box that you're the same.
All right, we've reached the end of their discography here. Their final album that they put out all the way back in 2008. But boy, did they go out with a fucking bang, brother. I love this album. Listen to the vengeance that they come back with here, man.
And the voice of a million starving children. They are the million ways to soul. Left freedom bleeding on the roadside. We believe the biggest lie. I wanna be wrong. I wish that I was uncertain, just like yesterday. This is not who I am. Been planning my escape so long now that my map looks like a maze. Beneath the sun of the same planet in every
I love this shit, man.
in every dirt. And so we live under the garden where we can hide. And I smell the dregs of earth beneath the sun.
Fucking ridiculous. Check out the cool little choice they did in this song. I was always super impressed with this.
I swear one day I'll get it back. Something that is already dead and gone. Again I see the trumpet player looking for his song. Don't
So
worry,
beautiful.
I won't find somebody get me off this lonely separate. The difference is 100 miles, but a couple months away. I'm saying hello just to say goodbye.
So that wraps up our trip down the latter part of their career. So let's rank this discography, guys. Come on. And I'm just going to go ahead and rank them piece by piece with the earliest records and just go in chronological order. Their first two releases, they're rough around the edges. I can't sit here and tell you I'm the biggest fan of them. I think if you're a really big No Use for a Name fan, it's really fun to go back and listen to where they came from and how they got to where they eventually got. But I'll put Don't Miss the Train in front of Incognito. And, you know, there's a lot of thrashy, hardcore punk stuff in there that's worth listening to. But it's not particularly unique or interesting. in the grand scheme of punk, but it's still good stuff. But I'll put it down in C tier, and it's at the bottom of their discography. So that brings us to The Daily Grind, which was their first fat release, and it's got 8 songs on it. 8 wonderful songs. That's where you really hear what they're going to become, man. I fucking love The Daily Grind, man. So great. So I'm putting that up ahead in A tier. And that brings us to their first, like, proper-ass fat release, which is the best of their early stuff. I think there's no denying it. It's got Justified Black Eye on it. It's got Soulmate on it. It's got Fatal Flu. It's got so many great songs. It's a special album. It goes up there on the top tier. Certainly the best of their early work. But followed closely by Making Friends. Like, make no mistake, Making Friends is good. I would even put it ahead of the Daily Grind. But we're talking about all great shit here, man. Making Friends is badass. It really is. Like, the end of them being, like, harsh. But there's so much melody still there to be heard on that album. They really kick some ass on Making Friends. I love that album. But that brings us to More Betterness. It happens to be the album that Chris Shiflett was on. And it happens to be my favorite No Use for a Name album. It's a little different with No Use for me, where it's not clear cut, like, oh, this one's the best, and then there's a big line in between. Yes, More Betterness is my favorite, but, like, not by a lot. But it is. I would put it up there as the place to start to hear them at their best. And that brings us to Hard Rock Bottom, which I also like a whole lot. It is hard for me to say whether or not I like it more than Making Friends, but I'm going to say that I do. It's also A tier, so put it right in there. Not a bad song on it, really. It's tough, splitting hairs with this stuff, but that is where I would put that. Brings us to Keep 'Em Confused, where I'm tempted. It's definitely down here. It really has some low points for me, and I feel like they got a little confused as to who they were on that album. The production's a bit odd, but the songs that are good are great. It's not like a throwaway album or anything like that, but it's down there for me. And then we get to Feel Good Record of the Year, which I am tempted to put at number 1, but I won't. I'll put it right in there. So there is my discography ranking. Now listen, they also have some rarities that they released after the fact. One of them is all covers, and then one of them is a lot of demos and some rare versions of songs that they did. I'm not including that in the discography ranking, but if you go back and listen to it, it's all really cool to hear where they were at. And they have good covers, man. They cover, like, Sublime and the Misfits and Social D and Cheap Trick and Dag Nasty. Like, it's cool, but I'm not including it in the discography ranking. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. No Use for a Name's discography ranked according to a monstrous fan who's been listening to them since, like, 1994. So let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on that, if you agree. Again, I'm such a big fan that it's all great, so. You know, you can't talk about the No Use story without mentioning the unfortunate passing of Tony, which really shocked the punk rock scene down to its core. I know it did me. And I'm not ashamed to say that I remember shedding a tear when I heard about it, man. I was a huge fucking fan of No Use and of Tony. Tony had broken off at that point in his career in the 2012 area, where he had put out some solo stuff. And if you like Tony and you don't know about it, you can go back and check out his solo stuff. He did a couple of splits with Joey Cape, and he did 2 albums on his own, Sad Bear and 12-song program, which are both great if you like him, and I love him. So, you know, check that stuff out if you're so inclined. But if you'll indulge me for a moment, I got a little story about Tony and Joey. As it pertains to No Use and Tony, I went and saw Tony and Joey in 2012 in Asbury Park at Asbury Lanes. To anybody who remembers Asbury Lanes, shout out Asbury Lanes, man. That place was fucking awesome. But I remember seeing Joey and Tony, and through sheer willpower and super fandom, I met Tony that night, and he signed a white acoustic guitar I had, and I told him a story about when I had seen No Use many years before over in Jersey at the Starland Ballroom. They were playing with Suicide Machines, and Tony came out, and he got sick. He got fucking sick, and he had to leave the stage, and he left the other guys on stage. Like, it was kind of peculiar, and the rest of the band didn't know what to do. So they started, like, asking people in the audience, like, does anybody know the words? And at one point, I'm like, fuck yeah, I know, Feeding the Fire. And I jumped on stage and sung Feeding the Fire with No Use for a Name at Starland Ballroom way back in the day, and it was really fucking cool. And I met Rory and a couple of the other guys after the show. They signed an acoustic guitar that I had with me as well. And I remember Rory being complimentary towards me. He's like, man, I could hear you singing in my ear. You did a great job. And it fucking meant the world to me. But I didn't meet Tony that night. Fast forward many years later, I saw Tony at Asbury that night, and I told him that story. And he's like, holy shit, I remember that. I do remember that. And he signed my guitar right next to the other guys who were on my guitar from No Use. And he wrote Tony Sly 2012 finally. And it was really fucking cool. And then Joey and Tony go on and they play. And I managed to worm my way on stage again because they asked. And I jumped on stage and ended up playing a song with them. But the way that show ended, Tony Sly and I played a sloppy, drunken, impromptu version of Chasing Rainbows 6 days before he passed away. 6 days before. So I remember here, when I heard the news, I was like coming off of this incredible experience where I met those guys and interacted with them and took a picture with them and everything. And it hit me in the face like a wet blanket, man. I was very, very, very upset about it. And I'll always be upset about it, you know? I miss No Use. I love Tony. And when they got around to it, they ended up doing a tribute show in California somewhere where all the Fat Records heavyweights came out and did a tribute show and covered all their songs and took turns singing the tunes, and it was really touching. And I rewatched that performance recently. And just to illustrate how much it meant to everybody, I'm going to like zoom in on a moment that took place here between Fat Mike and Matt Riddle. And if you watch this little clip, you'll see how moved Fat Mike is. He's also drunk, but he's upset. And he sings a lyric, I'm trying to forget you and everything we had, which is a lyric from On the Outside, which they're playing. And you can see it hit Mike in the face that he means he's singing Mike's song, or he's singing Tony's song in that moment. And then he realizes he's singing a No Use song in front of all of his peers and friends, saying goodbye to someone that he loved and respected. And it hits him. And you watch the clip, you'll see it. And then he turns around and hugs Matt. And then Matt turns around and wipes tears from his eyes. And it's shit like that that makes me proud to have been a damn fan of Fat Records for as long as I have. I know those guys love each other and respect each other and bleed for each other, so to speak. And Fat Records means something. And losing No Use was like losing a table leg, man. It was a drag. And everyone respects how much of an incredible songwriter Tony was. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the No Use for a Name You Want to Get Into video. Any No Use fans out there want to share some stories that they might have, any feelings about Tony. I hope I helped anybody interested in No Use find their way to them. I hope I did them justice in the songs that I picked and the clips that I chose to play and how I described them. I truly love them. I truly love them. So, you want to get into episode 2, No Use for a Name. See you on the next one. Tony Slide forever.